All right, so Sweden is on your radar for expanding your business. Huh? Smart move. I mean, Sweden has a fantastic reputation for being business friendly. And let's be honest, who wouldn't want their brand, associated with those like iconic Swedish companies, right?
Hmm.
But then the logistics start creeping in. Like hiring people in another country,
Yeah.
navigating all those Swedish labor laws. I mean, it can feel a little overwhelming.
Yeah, you're not wrong. There are definitely complexities when it comes to international expansion. But the good news is there are solutions out there to make the whole process a lot smoother.
Solutions?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me more.
Well, have you ever heard of an employer of record, or EOR for short?
EOR. I feel like I've heard that term thrown around, but to be honest, I'm not exactly sure what it entails.
Isn't it similar to a PEO, professional employer organization? You're right. They are similar in that both EORs and PEOs help companies like yours expand overseas by essentially acting as your HR department in that new country. But there's a key difference in the level of legal responsibility they take on and how they manage employees. Think of it this way. An EOR becomes the legal employer of your employees in Sweden, handling things like payroll taxes, benefits, and compliance with local labor laws. A PEO, on the other hand, partners with you to share those responsibilities.
Got it. So an EOR is like having a local expert on the ground in Sweden who handles all those tricky HR details for you.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty appealing, especially if you're not familiar with the ins and outs of Swedish employment regulations. But I'm curious, why would a company choose to go the EOR or PEO route instead of just setting up their own entity in Sweden? Wouldn't that be more, I don't know, official?
Yeah. That's a common misconception. A lot of companies think that establishing their own entity is the only way to go. But here's the thing. Setting up a separate legal entity in Sweden can be a long and complicated process, easily taking 6 months or even longer. And time is money, right? Especially when you're eager to get your operations up and running in a new market.
Totally. So what's the alternative?
An EOR can get you operational in Sweden in as little as 2 to 5 days. That's a massive difference in speed. And it's not just about the time savings either. Using an EOR can be up to 80% less expensive compared to setting up your own entity. Now, if you're a smaller or medium-sized business and maybe a little hesitant to fully commit to a new market, a PEO might be a great option for you. It gives you that flexibility to test the waters without diving headfirst into the deep end.
I'm starting to see the appeal here. Not only are you saving time and money, but you're also taking a lot of the stress and uncertainty out of the equation. So it's not just about the initial setup either, right? There are ongoing benefits in terms of managing your workforce in Sweden.
Absolutely. Swedish labor laws are known for being quite employee-friendly, which is great, but it also means there's a lot to keep track of. Things like working hours, vacation time, parental leave, and a whole host of other regulations. Trying to stay on top of all that from afar can be a real headache. And let's be honest, no one wants to accidentally run afoul of Swedish law.
I'll say I've heard stories about those Swedish labor inspectors. They don't mess around.
Exactly. But with an EOR, you're covered. They handle all the compliance, so you can rest assured that you're operating legally and ethically.
Okay, I'm sold on the concept. But let's talk about how does an EOR actually make all of this happen? Is it some super secret process?
Not at all. In fact, a company like INS Global, which specializes in these EOR and PEO solutions, makes it remarkably straightforward.
INS Global, I've heard of them. Tell me more about how they approach this.
Well, they have this simple 3-step process. First, you tell them about your project, your goals for expanding into Sweden, and the kind of team you need. Then INS Global takes all that information and recommends the best approach for your specific situation, whether it's an EOR or a PEO solution. And finally, once you've agreed on the way forward, they handle everything. Hiring the right people, getting them onboarded seamlessly, and making sure every single step is compliant with Swedish law. And the best part, they can have your employees legally ready to work in Sweden incredibly quickly.
So it's like having a team of Swedish business ninjas working behind the scenes, making sure everything runs smoothly.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, what are some of the key things a company needs to be aware of when it comes to Swedish labor laws?
Well, for starters, Sweden has a strong emphasis on work-life balance. The standard work week is capped at 40 hours and overtime is strictly limited. Employees are entitled to at least 25 days of paid vacation per year, plus 13 public holidays.
Wow, that's a lot of vacation time.
And it gets even better when you talk about parental leave. Sweden offers a whopping 480 days of total parental leave, which can be split between parents.
Okay, now I'm starting to understand why Sweden has such a happy workforce.
Exactly. And all of these factors are taken into account by INS Global when they're managing your HR in Sweden. They make sure you're not just compliant, but also operating in a way that aligns with Swedish culture and values.
It's incredibly reassuring to know that all those details are taken care of. But let's be honest, finding the right people is just as important as handling the legal stuff, right?
You've hit the nail on the head. And that's another area where INS Global really shines. They can also assist with recruitment in Sweden, leveraging their local networks and expertise to find the best talent for your company.
So it sounds like INS Global is the one-stop shop for any company looking to expand into Sweden.
Pretty much. They take care of everything from the legal and HR complexities to finding the right people. This allows you to focus on what you do best, growing your business.
All right. I think we've covered a lot of ground here. If you're interested in expanding your business to Sweden, reach out to INS Global today and tell them about your expansion project.
They're the experts, and they can guide you every step of the way.
So we've talked about like the why and the how of using an EOR like INS Global for expanding into Sweden, but I'm always a sucker for a good success story. Are there any real-world examples of companies who have used this approach and seen positive results?
Absolutely. There are tons of companies out there who have successfully used EORs to expand internationally, including into Sweden. One example that comes to mind is a testimonial from a company called Taro Asia. Their managing director, Manuel Ramos, talked about how using an EOR allowed them to enter new markets quickly and efficiently without having to set up their own entities right away.
I love that approach. Like dipping your toes in the pool before doing a cannonball. You get to test the waters and make sure it's the right fit for your business before making a huge commitment.
Exactly. And there's data to back up the benefits of using an EOR. I came across some research that compared traditional company incorporation with EOR PEO solutions, and the differences were pretty striking. For example, companies that used an EOR saw a significant decrease in employee turnover, something like 14%, which is huge.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
If the EOR is handling all those complex HR issues, ensuring employees are paid correctly and on time and that all the legal requirements are met, it stands to reason that employees would be happier and more likely to stick around.
Right. Happy employees, less turnover. It's a win-win for everyone. And when you look at the bigger picture, the research also showed that companies using EORs experienced a faster growth rate, somewhere between 7 and 9%, and a higher return on investment, around 27%. Those are some pretty compelling numbers.
It really highlights how using an EOR isn't just about simplifying things, but it's also about strategically positioning your business for success in a new market.
Exactly. It's about gaining a competitive edge and maximizing your potential for growth.
So Sweden, the land of Vikings meatballs, and now apparently seamless business expansion, thanks to EORs, who knew? But I have to ask, for those of us who might be new to the whole international expansion game, what would you say is the biggest misconception about doing business in Sweden?
That's a great question. I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that Sweden is all about high taxes and strict regulations. While it's true that Sweden has a strong social safety net and robust labor laws, it's also a highly competitive and innovative business environment. They've managed to strike a balance between social responsibility and economic dynamism.
So it's not all just fika breaks and cozy sweaters.
Well, there's definitely plenty of that, too. But Sweden is also home to some of the most successful companies in the world. They have a highly skilled workforce, a strong culture of innovation, and a government that's committed to supporting businesses.
Okay, I'm starting to get serious FOMO here. Fear of missing out.
Yeah.
For anyone listening who's feeling that same entrepreneurial itch, what's the first step they should take if they're considering Sweden as their next big move?
I would say the first step is to simply reach out to INS Global. Seriously, just have a conversation with them. They offer a free consultation, and their team is incredibly knowledgeable and helpful. They can answer all your questions, assess your specific needs, and guide you through the entire process, whether you're a small startup or a large corporation.
It's like having a personalized roadmap to Swedish business success.
Yeah.
And the best part is you don't have to be a legal expert or an HR guru to get started. INS Global takes care of all that heavy lifting for you.
Exactly. They empower you to focus on what you do best, developing your product, providing excellent service, and connecting with your customers in Sweden.
So to wrap things up, if there's one thing our listeners should take away from this deep dive into the world of EORs and Swedish business expansion, what would it be?
I'd say this global expansion is no longer a distant dream reserved for only the biggest companies. With the right partner, like INS Global, it's an achievable goal for businesses of all sizes. Sweden, with its thriving economy, highly skilled workforce, and commitment to innovation, is a fantastic market to consider. And INS Global can make navigating that market not only easy, but incredibly rewarding.
So if you're feeling inspired and ready to take your business to the next level, don't wait another minute. Contact INS Global today and tell them about your expansion project. They'll be your trusted guide, your Swedish business ninja, helping you unlock the incredible potential that awaits you in the land of the midnight sun. It really sounds like they've got all the bases covered. So if our listeners are ready to take that leap and explore the Swedish market, what's their next step?
It's as simple as reaching out to INS Global. They offer free consultations, so there's no risk in just, having a conversation with them. Their team is incredibly knowledgeable and can walk you through all the options, answer your questions, and help you determine if an EOR solution is the right fit for your business.
It's like a test drive for your Swedish expansion plans. No commitment, just a chance to explore the possibilities.
Exactly. And even if you decide that an EOR isn't the right solution for you at this time, INS Global can still offer valuable insights and guidance on navigating the Swedish market.
So there's really no downside to reaching out.
None whatsoever.
Well, I think we've covered just about everything today. From the benefits of using an EOR to the ins and outs of Swedish labor law, we've really gone deep on this one.
It's been a pleasure diving into all this with you.
And for our listeners out there, if you're feeling inspired to take your business to the next level, don't let the complexities of international expansion hold you back. Contact INS Global today and tell them about your expansion project. They'll be your trusted guide, your Swedish business ninja, helping you unlock the incredible potential that awaits you in the land of the midnight sun.
Who knows, maybe one day we'll be doing a deep dive into the success story of your business in Sweden.
Now that's something worth raising a glass of lingonberry juice to. Cheers to that.